Alright, welcome back everyone. So this is going to be the last update to this coding experiment. Again, these have been sitting out here, let's see, we're going on 9 days now. And so I didn't make an update after day 4. I just let them sit and to see how they turn out at the very end, and we're going to get some final updates on these coding. So let's pan into EXO. With EXO, I actually pulled out the disk in there, and like around day 5 or 6, I let it sit and just sit out, just to kind of let the carrier solvents evaporate and leave me back, leave behind some quartz. And one thing I noticed is, so it does have that glass-like structure, but it's not a hard glass-like feeling. So this one's actually still relatively soft, so you can just break it apart in my hand, but it retained a look of quartz. So that's it for EXO. And here's another piece right here. Let me get these little guys out of the way, but it left a softer forming crystal structure. Now this one's softer because it has air in the middle, but again, at least it formed a glass-like structure. So we get up to crystal serum light, and you can see it's still liquid, but the bottom, I don't know if I can actually get it. It retained a layer of film. So what is that? So maybe this coating actually doesn't harden like a traditional, like EXO does. Perhaps this one just forms a hard film to stay somewhat flexible. I couldn't find anything on the chemical makeup on it, other than the SDS saying it's hydrocarbons. So not really much information that I could find, and just saying that it's ceramic. So this may just form a hard film, layer of film on there, but a lot of the liquid started to evaporate more and just left that behind. We come back to Sequartz UK 3.0, and let's just pull it out here. So again, we're left with this piece. So this doesn't feel as tacky anymore. So it actually did, it did harden up a little bit more. Let's see if I can get another piece in here. Here's the outer ring. This piece is still somewhat tacky, but it's not as tacky as it was. I'm going to break a piece off here so you guys can actually see it. But again, these coatings are not, in reality, you're not going to put that thick of a layer on your paint. So this one definitely got harder. It's definitely harder than EXO. And if I break that piece right there, see, it took a little bit of force, so the thickness that I poured in there made this a little harder to break. So that's UK 3.0. Let me put this back in the container, and we go with TiO2, and we're left with I tried to take out the disc, and again it just kind of broke apart because I didn't have a lot of product in there, so it kind of just formed a thin layer, and so it broke apart. And these things actually did, at least the quartz that was left behind, did get harder because they were actually feeling gel-like, and you can see that took a little bit of force. So again, don't get too hyped up into or caught up in the hardness level, but this one did get harder than EXO as well. So overall did pretty well. And let's get over to UK. Again, this is similar. This was the previous version. Let me get a piece out, and we'll break a little. This one just broke immediately, so it's not as hard as 3.0. You can see it's not as hard. It's still a good coating, so if you still have some left over, don't be afraid to use it. Nothing's gonna happen. I'm just stating that 3.0 is much harder than I guess this is 2.0. And let me break off another piece. That one just broke off like that. So we're done with UK. I may do another one with Moe's again. We'll see. And then we've got can coat, which turned into a white wafer like structure. I'm not going to break that piece because I think it looks kind of cool. But here's another piece here, and it's like a powder silica. You know, it's not very hard. You know, I can just break it. And if I wanted to, I can just break this piece as well. You guys can see it. So it doesn't form a very hard structure like some of these other coatings, but at least it's got some silica. You know, why it turned white, I have no idea, but that's actually interesting. So we'll come over to the last three. Let me move these up a little bit. Again, we've got Geon rim, Geon trim, and Carport Deluxe. So let's check out Geon rim and see if it got any harder as the days have passed. And again, this is a thick layer that's in there. Again, you're not going to get this thick of a layer. And let's see if I can break a piece with just my fingers. I broke the piece to where there's a gap. So it's pretty thick. I'm not going to be able to break it. I think this one's actually pretty hard because it poured it thicker. Grab another piece. If I can grab it out of this thing. Here we go. This is actually a more realistic piece. And I shot it off somewhere, but it took some force to break that one. This one's so thick, it's gonna, you know, take some more force to break it. So that one actually hardened some more as well. Let's go to Geon trim. Let's see if I can get this piece out of here. So again, this was one of the first ones that hardened up, and it did get harder than last time. I don't know if I can break this piece here. I broke the ends where there was a gap. And I was able to break that piece. Let's see if I can break this piece here. There's another piece there. So it's formed a nice hard crystal layer. And let's go to Deluxe. Again, this was probably the first one to harden up. And let's see where it's at. A little bit easier to break than trim. But then I had a thicker layer of trim. So it's about the same hardness level as trim. So that's it for that. Looks like they've all started to do something. Again, the only difference in the coatings is from Crystal Serum Light. Again, this just forms a flexible film that hardens up because of the thinner consistency when it's put on paint. I don't know if this is really scientific proof of what these coatings actually do on the paint, because when you go on when you put on the paint, you're going to have a thinner layer than this. So that's all. At least we know that some of the coatings do harden, some of them, and we kind of understand the characteristics of them once the carrier solvents evaporate and what we're left behind. Again, I'm debating on whether or not to do another one and then see if I got some Carport Gliss. I've got some skin which came with Moe's and the Synchro kit to try, and I got the leather coatings to mess around with as well from Sea Quartz and Geon. So I may add those for another time. But this is it for this experiment. I hope you guys were able to kind of see what some of these coatings do, and then the fact that some of them do harden. Are you going to get that real hard 9H, 10H kind of level? Who's to say? But again, don't buy into the claims of hardness and your paint's not going to scratch or chip. These coatings are going to chip because of the thin layer that is put on the paint. So again, thanks for watching. I hope you guys found some useful information in this, and stay tuned for more videos.